Welcome into sports on WTOL 11. Plus, I'm Noelle Blumel here in studio today talking more things March Madness. Earlier this month, we set the scene for the men's side, but today we're focusing on the women, specifically the Final Four in Tampa Bay. And that's where our special guest comes into play, who will be making the trip down there as a guest speaker. I'm pleased to be joined by State Bank Vice President and former Division I softball coach, Stephanie Paris. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And so obviously you're no stranger to athletics. You obviously are married to Derek Vandermeer, who is the Bowling Green athletic director. You ran the Austin Peay State softball program as the head coach. You were a player yourself, and now you're more so in the financial banking business side of things, obviously as the VP. So just to start, can you just explain what it is that you'll be going to in Florida and speaking in, and how you were selected to be a part of it?
Right. So, I still keep in touch with a lot of colleagues, from being in college athletics for a really long time. And so there's a National Athletic Directors Association, NACDA, and Teamworks have now partnered to do an event at the Women's Final Four. I have personal connections with Teamworks. Brandy Bryant called me. She's a regional manager for them, and she said, we would love to have you be a part of this because, one, you were a student athlete. Two, you were a Division I head coach. And then number three, you've transitioned into now a role outside of athletics. And we're talking about sort of transitioning in with your panel.
And as far as I know, if I remember correctly, this panel for the Women's Final Four, it's the first of its kind. There's things like this for the men's side year after year, but is this the first time something is happening on the women's side?
Yes, this is the first time. And it's actually kind of the ambition around it, really, because they have always had it at the men's Final Four, and they're like, why can't we do this at the women's Final Four? So these two groups got together and said, let's put a group together, put some dynamic women there on the stage, and let's have a lot of conversation around college athletics and professional.
Absolutely. And you and I first met last summer at Bowling Green State during the women's clinic, the second annual women's clinic at the time that you, alongside Amy Leffler, had founded. And I remember talking with you that day. That was a time where women within the community could come in, get a tour of their facilities, learn about the practice drills that the guys do day in and day out. But I remember specifically talking with you. You said the one thing you wanted women who come and be a part of that to take away is a networking experience and more knowledge than they came in with. And now you're here speaking at the Women's Final Four, a panel for networking and connections. Why does networking and connections and just kind of having these platforms to uplift and educate women specifically continue to interest you?
Well, I think it's important. I think that, if you are thinking about going into a leadership role or you're in a current leadership role, why not polish those skills and continue to get better? Regardless if you are in college athletics and moving into another professional role, whether it's media, technology, finance, whatever that is, you're still taking a lot of those tools with you. Communication skills, leadership skills, all those things are just in a different silo, right? So, whether you're going from one or the other, it's all transitional.
Absolutely. And so kind of going off of that, what specific topics are you going to be bringing to the panel and discussing with amongst the audience?
So the audience is really going to be senior level administrators. So senior women administrators, deputy athletic directors, all from different levels of NCAA universities. So we're going to be talking about really how, because my specific panel is talking about how you are transitioning roles. So the people that I'm talking with were specifically in one role and now in a complete opposite role, like myself. So really just what you said about transitioning those skills and how does it relate, and really clarifying leadership in whatever industry you're in, right?
So you're going to be speaking to fellow peers about that.
Yep.
What is your message and mission statement to the athletes, specifically women, since this is for the Women's Final Four? What's kind of your message to them, knowing that you've actually done it yourself, gone from being firsthand immersed, playing day in and day out as a collegiate athlete at the D1 level, and still like having that own experience of taking your leadership to a different role in a different realm?
I think it's really more about just sharing experiences and knowledge. Really, my role in college athletics and now is just about relationships. And really, if there's student athletes that can really hone in on those skills of great communication, great engagement, creating these relationships through a lifetime, you don't really know where someone can help you later in life. And so those are really good skills that we want to showcase. But the women that are there are phenomenal. I'm lucky to be in the room with them. It's going to be a great event, and I'm lucky to be a part of it.
What is your message to maybe women or, you know, young career people who are kind of on the flip side of it, vice versa, who maybe didn't grow up in sports but want to, you know, aspire to take a leadership role in a sporting business type thing? What would you say to them on the flip side? I
would say go for it, because even though you may not have been an actual college athlete, there are so many opportunities to be around college athletics that, you know, maybe you specifically were not on the court or the field, but I mean, there are many, many roles that, you know, take those skills, and I would say go for it and don't be afraid and engage and make those connections and have those conversations with people, and you never know where it can lead to.
And for you, obviously, your background in education, being an educator and obviously leading softball program at one point, from this experience, being able to speak on this panel, kind of on the flip side as a student, is there anything you hope to learn and take out of being able to be in that room surrounded by all those people at one of the biggest stages for women's sports?
I think, you know, really my role still now is about supporting the student athletes. So going to this event, if I can take something with me from there and bring back to Derek, bring back to our leadership team, bring back to our coaches, bring back to our parents, like anything that we're involved with in my role at State Bank, I would love to do that, you know, and really it's just about supporting the student athletes. And then at this event, it's really doing the same thing. So if I can bring something back, that's really the goal.
Absolutely. And I have to ask, I know you're a Tennessee girl through and through. Any predictions for men or women's side who's going to take it all? I'm not sure if that's
I don't know. I mean, you know, it's March Madness. It's anything goes and depends on who shows up, right?
Yeah. Just looking forward to be a part of that experience. Awesome.
Yeah.
Stephanie, thank you so much for being here tonight. Obviously, Women's Final Four happening on April 4th with the championship game being played on April 6th, Final Four on April 4th. But until then, we thank you for joining us here on WTOL 11 Plus. For WTOL 11 Sports, I'm Noelle Blumel.